wondering about that.
Well, I was in the military and also I do mental health, and I never put myself
I had a friend who had a awful, horrible ex-husband, and she never would put her back to the door.
I'm not worried about it.
Do you mind if we look together? Dan came to learn about Resource Authority, and I'll give him mine. And then, if you'd like,
Yes.
and Mary will share with me, and then you can see as we talk.
Dr.
So,
Shannon.
well, you can sit here, or you can sit back there. I don't know if they.
We got an extra one here if you'd like. to
Oh,
hold it.
yeah, they have an extra one.
So who are you missing? You'll probably be back
Do you want
there.
it? I don't care. I was just gonna, oh, you know what? Can I have that back? Oh, no, this is mine. Never mind. We're all good. I didn't realize that was there.
How are you,
I forgot.
Jamie?
1, 2, 3, I'm fine. Oh, yeah, we got that.
Hey, Baker.
We ready?
Roll
Hey, man, my machine shut off here. I started it too early.
It times
My
out.
phone, yeah, that's my
That's his
phone.
lightsaber.
It does weird things. It emits weird sounds, and I haven't figured out how to get rid of them yet.
Okay, Baker.
Oh, I didn't do that.
You run all this.
I've read the minutes.
I put it on silent, still emits sound, silent, but it's haunted, I think. All right. Board of Directors meeting, April 17th, called to order. We were emailed the minutes, and they're also right here, if anybody has any corrections to them being made. There's a motion to approve. by
Second.
Jamie. Second?
Second.
Second, okay. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Report of the chair, I have none. Report of the general manager.
Okay, we'll look at the first thing in your folders. There's the monthly tonnage, daily average report. You can see what we had tonnage-wise coming in March this year. That's total tons. What came into the transfer station on the floor, wood waste and tires that came in. You can see there were a little over 1,160 tons over 2022. Now, one thing to keep in mind that we'll see when we get down to the next report or two is about 1,500 tons of that was wood waste. So, if you'll remember back in March, we had some storm damage, picking up a lot of limbs, people bringing in limbs, trees that were down. There's still a lot of stuff out there to be picked up as well that I've seen driving around Gallatin, and Mr. Young said the same thing in Hendersonville down there, so.
I'd venture to say that's the largest march in history because we've
It
been back
is.
through 10.
Yeah, that's the most tonnage we've ever had.
Ever had.
Well, I think, period, just to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
yeah, I agree.
I drove down Smith Street today, right behind where Dairy Queen and, where Captain D's and all those are, and somebody had dumped probably 10 trees worth of stuff out there for the city to pick up. It's good. It was covered, it took like almost a block of wood. There's lots of it still out there.
Well, and I ran a report just a little bit ago, right before I left as well. We're right at, well, a little less than 700 tons coming into the transfer station today. That was at 4 o'clock. And we're on track to run probably more than April's tonnage shows there in 2022. So, yeah, we're total tons this month so far is a little over 8,600.
So with the increased tons, how's the line? That's all I hear about. Nobody wants to know how much tons. They want to ask me, how long's the line?
The line is long.
Yeah.
And it's 2.5
It
hours
is.
for my
Yeah,
husband.
no doubt about
I mean,
it.
it has to be with
Yeah.
this,
When did
yeah.
he do it?
I told him he shouldn't
Yeah,
have
it's-
it on Monday.
Oh, no.
Most days
It was on
it's
Monday.
long, has been all day today.
How is it in the evening? I'm not sure what time. Do you close at 4?
5.
5?
We
Are
try
they
to-
still
we
lined
try-
up?
Sometimes they are, depends on the day. We try to
Yeah.
tell people to try to get there and wait in before 4:30,
Mhm.
because, you know, people like to go home
I know
as
you
well.
do. I know everybody. So what do? Are you like Disney? If you're in line, you get to stay in line, or y'all close the gate? What do you do?
Well,
And I'm not judging, I'm just.
no, I know, we keep it running until the gate closes, generally, no matter what time they come. You know, if they're lined up outside the gate, it's kind of a catch-22 situation.
Because they keep coming.
Yeah, and they were probably lined up before 4:30, possibly, so who you gonna cut off down there?
Right.
I don't know, but, yeah, the line is long. Mondays are bad, Saturdays are bad.
What do we anticipate? I mean, we built the bigger transfer station to handle more waste in the future, but we still can't get them really up. I know we're gonna have that extra, like, long length of line to the new transfer building, but our consumer line is still the same length.
Well, we're gonna split the flow of traffic up. That's
Right.
what's gonna be the big help.
But the commercial line, or the residential line's not gonna change in length.
Well, they're all in the same line now.
I know, so we'll veer off commercial,
2 lines.
2 lines.
Mhm.
Will it be 2
There's
lines?
gonna be
It's the
two-
road, I'm wondering.
Two lines coming in.
Oh, good. Do we get a new lane out on the road?
There's gonna be a,
Excellent.
500 feet of
yeah,
queuing.
500
a
feet.
partial lane,
Good.
a queuing lane. There's 2 scales coming in, one for the commercial traffic going into the new transfer station, one for the individuals that'll be basically hand unloaders. No matter what size vehicle they got, they'll still be going to the existing transfer station.
Right.
And then 2 lines coming out most of the time. An outbound scale for the commercial guys and an outbound scale.
I just worry, like, Gallatin's projecting another 30,000 residents. And, you know, and I'm like, wow.
Maybe that's where the gate needs to be.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm like thinking. I mean, that's what they're looking at. They're looking at, I'm just throwing it out there, sorry. I interrupted your report.
It's nobody knows that it's a problem more than we do.
Yeah.
There that see it every day. I mean, it gives us heartburn more than it does anybody else probably. Except for maybe somebody sitting in line for several minutes or whatever, how long it is, but.
Terry,
Okay.
would you want to see we did a solid waste master plan just for Rasco specifically that went through several options. Now, there's been some things that have shuffled a little
Yeah.
bit from the time we did the study, but if you'd want to.
No, yeah, I just want to hear what your needs are in this whole new tonnage due to the strong winds. And then I'm thinking about the increase in population. We have more strong winds in 5 years.
Storms make a difference. We're gonna have the same drop area for wood waste pretty much that we've got now. But again, once they get in on the inbound scale, they're gonna split up. They'll go to a
That
different
way.
spot than the others will. So that's gonna be the best help, is being able to split the traffic flow up, coming in and going out.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've been kicking around the idea, and I think we probably need to, Ryan and I have talked about it, and I've talked about it with our scale people. We're probably gonna have to refurbish. We kind of looked at that, talked ourselves out of it, but I think we need to go back and then, in this project, refurbish the old 50-foot scale and use it for another outbound scale, especially on Saturdays. To try to have 2 outbound scales that'll be there going by the existing scale house.
But also, are we gonna have these readers on your big commercial?
On the
people?
commercial.
Read them coming and going, so they
Yeah.
don't stop.
RFID readers on commercial vehicles. They'll be mounted on the trucks.
Are you set up already for the automatic billing for those readers, or that'll all come together?
It'll all come together in this project. Yeah. Tracy has to export the scale information into QuickBooks now, and that's how the commercial people get billed once a month
Mhm.
at the first of every month.
I'm sorry, again, I was just.
No, it's,
Good question.
so, you know, to reiterate, tonnage hadn't dropped off, still continuing to flow in at a pretty good rate. And actually, you know, the team there at work, they do a really good job under the circumstances to try to get people in and out of there as fast as they can, we can, from the front on the scale in to the back. Are there hiccups sometimes? Yeah, there is. But, you know, we try to not give people too much grief trying to get in and out. It's aggravating at times, I will admit.
Something you can also look at is on your P&L when we get to it. There's a line item for overtime, and you can see how much is being spent on overtime. That's a reflection of what he said.
Yeah,
Well,
that
and
gave-
that's
People stay.
true, that's
Yeah,
kinda
I
gone
just didn't
up.
want to throw that in there, I was wondering.
That's kinda gone up.
I thought I
in
would
the-
hold off and
It's
see if I
kinda gone
found
up
it.
in the last month because of issues like that. We're having to stay later in the afternoons to try to get everything cleaned up once we get everybody out. So,
Well, we're getting 2.5 times as much trash as we did 20 years ago, with basically the same facility,
yeah,
so.
I was telling Ryan today when I was talking to him, I mean, we're running, you know, most days 650 to 700 tons through a transfer station that really wasn't designed to be a transfer station to start with. And, you know, it's got limitations in how it operates as far as getting the material in, how many trucks can get in there and loading it out. So, you know, I commend the people that work there
Oh, yeah.
myself.
Yeah, it's
for
the people
job.
unloading that's your bottleneck, how quick the customer can unload.
Well, that and the limited amount of space where everybody has to get to right now to unload, that's the
Yeah.
problem, the biggest problem. And that's kind of what drove the decision to build a new
Yeah.
transfer station, split the traffic flows.
I guess the only thing I could add to that is, you know, we're putting the existing traffic in a loop. Right now, everybody comes in and has to come out the same direction, so we'll be traveling
Yeah.
around the backside of the building, so everybody's moving in counterclockwise loops.
Yeah, we kind of have to fight like salmon upstream now, getting people in and out of there. Everybody's coming
I
in the
know.
same way and you have to get out the same kind of way.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of factors involved in the slowness of it at times, depending on how many people show up all at one time and how fast you can get them back to a spot to unload and get them out. So,
A lot of moving parts.
the next things in there are the major customer reports, breakdowns on the guys that we've kind of identified over time that bring probably about the most tonnage. We might have to reevaluate that here before too long, because we got some coming now that we may have to switch out in those categories that may be bringing more than these.
Larry, you're gonna get more from Henderson this summer, especially on Wednesdays.
Okay, I know they've been sending some trucks up, I've noticed them showing up, so, and we hadn't had any trouble getting them in and out so far.
They appreciate that.
The middle of the week's
Yeah.
probably a better situation to do that, so, yeah. Sarah's usually pretty good to call and
Yeah.
let us know most of the time.
So do you have some companies, commercial haulers that are in that miscellaneous category?
Yes,
That,
there are some. There
Are
are
doing a
some
lot
where,
more than 4%?
I don't know, I need to look at that, probably, I'm thinking.
Because Green for Life has dropped way down.
Yeah, they've dropped way down. That's the old Waste Industries. J&J Services is still, I think they're down a little bit from last year. Not much, but a little bit.
Is GFL going somewhere else, or are they just not having as much business as they
They're
have?
probably I'd say the loads that they pick up in the Sumner County area, they probably bring here. They may have been bringing some more before from other places. I know they used to, excuse me, they used to do the residential in Goodlettsville and Millersville, some places like that. I don't know if they still do or not, but they probably dump in Nashville at transfer stations down there, I'm guessing. Although it's getting tighter getting in and out of those, depending on which one you go to. But I was thinking maybe LRS and there's probably another one or two that we might could look at moving over there. But to answer your question, yes, there are some over that miscellaneous category now.
Well, I was getting gas a couple weeks ago, I saw some guy with a truck that I know, you know, he probably just started his own collection business.
There's been a lot of those the last couple of years for sure.
I know, GFL, we lost that Robbie, that one front end loader.
Yeah.
They told him he couldn't come back to us, he had to come down to theirs in Nashville.
Okay.
So, and he'd bring 1-2 loads a day, and he was always heavy.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're in the waste business and you think you got it figured out, usually you don't, because it changes daily and weekly. Those guys are constantly evaluating their routes and where they pick up and where they dump, and how long they're taking, things like that. So, you know, one I've seen increase is Republic, though.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Of course, we've talked about Republic's issues at AAA at their transfer station down there, and also at the landfill at Middle Point. So, you know, there's trouble getting in and out of both those places. So that's probably one reason why we've seen an uptick in their tonnage coming in as well.
Well, miscellaneous is encouraging to me because at least they're not throwing it on the side of the road.
We're getting a lot of roofing in right now,
Yeah.
too. There's a lot of,
Oh, sure.
of course, you know, storm damage has driven a lot of that. New construction's driving a lot of it, obviously. But we are getting a lot of roofing material in now.
The roofing material we get more in April than they did in March, because the roofing folks, they were just doing tarps in March. Now they're coming back actually.
Yeah, they're swamped, they're swamped.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of tarps on places around Gallatin too, so. We've even got one on Scale House at work. Need to try to get somebody to fix, somewhere along the line.
Leakage, so it's like.
The next things there is the product sales summaries. You can see the, that was, I already went past that. I was looking at today's, I ran, sorry. The next thing is the county breakdown on tonnage. You know, if you look at those, Davidson, Wilson, probably the two biggest ones we get from other counties other than Sumner. There are a few others, but if you run the numbers, we're still right at 90% Sumner County from what we've been able to gather, polling vehicles coming in and out. The next sheet in there is the breakdown on the load haul dispose fee for the month of March was down about 20 cents. Fuels was down a little bit, so that dropped some, 41.29 for the month. That's $27 a ton to Smith County to dispose, and the rest of it is the contractor to load the material and haul it over there, so. The next spreadsheet there is for recycling spreadsheet on the drop-off center. We've been so busy there at the transfer station and waiting on the new truck that we had ordered that finally came in last Thursday. We went and picked it up. We didn't haul any loads. We kind of backlogged some recycling material in March, so that should start picking back up. He hauled a few loads the end of the week, last week with the new truck, and he'll probably get back on that if time permits
Hey, Larry,
this
I
week.
don't quite understand the second page of that.
That's just a continuation of the first page. That's the bottom line number, or negative 363.27 for the fiscal year so far.
Are we not getting much paper in there? Because you haven't had, or are they not paying? Or are we not paying?
Not paying. It's costing us, there for a few months now. Cardboard started to go back up some now, I understand. But we weren't getting paid anything for cardboard, for a few months. You can see it on the sheet there. So,
But you haven't had a paper load for, looks like for a while. So I was curious.
that's the mixed office paper. We did take one this past Friday. So, but we didn't haul anything in March. We got a bunch sitting on the loading dock there at work to haul. The next sheet's miscellaneous recycling spreadsheet. Breakdown on the revenues for those items. The next one is the alternative energy spreadsheet, which reflects the wood waste, wood grinding charges to transfer station, the Gallatin site, and also Hendersonville as well. And where we stand for the year over there on what we paid out as to what we've got back in revenue. In the last one there on the tonnage sheets is the on-site manifested tires. Still getting a lot of tires in. Those tire dealers evidently are selling tires like crazy.
Getting ready to go on vacation.
We are,
Families.
we've probably got a little over one load stockpile there now. Supposed to get a truck in this week though, so hopefully we can keep those cleaned up. We don't have a big pile there currently, so that's a good thing. And the only other thing I've got in there is the financials after that. If anybody's got any questions on those were sent out in the emails ahead of time. Still tracking pretty good for the year. We have got a request from the county last week for the payment for the bond interest for this second part of this fiscal year, and Tracy did that check today, so that was $170,000 or $80,000, I can't remember
And
exactly
I know,
what it was.
I know we just hired a contractor to do the arbitrage on the bonds. So I think because interest rates are going up, I know in general, when they spoke of it, it sounded like in general, there's gonna be some money that we're gonna have to pay. And we will hear from the Resource Authority also. I don't know. I just know that I looked at the contract fee where we're paying someone to do those calculations.
Okay,
I don't think it's a lot. I don't know yet. I haven't wanted to think that deep into the number.
we've been sending our billing over there as soon as we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once this thing cranks up, I don't think arbitrage will be a problem.
No, there's
We'll
gonna
run
be,
through this money pretty quick.
Yeah. It's just with interest rates rising is where we're getting
Yeah.
into a little of that right now.
But I think think when you get into arbitrage, a lot of times when you're making money.
Yes, it's when you're making money, yes.
Ours, it's gonna be
Spend it.
pretty fast, yeah, it will be.
That's all I've got on that, unless anybody's got any more questions.
I do have one other question. About 3 months ago, you told us about the task force.
Yes,
Are they still having meetings, or what's
yes,
the current on
I've
that?
got one tomorrow, actually. Going to Nashville to GNRC tomorrow. Supposed to be down there by 11 o'clock.
That's better.
So that's the second meeting that we'll have had, or have, I guess. So we'll see, what comes out of all that. They've got a big mix of people involved in that, from the commissioner, TDEC. He was at the first meeting. I saw he was on the agenda for tomorrow. He's supposed to be back, so they've got us split up into different ones. The legislative part, working on new legislation dealing with solid waste, some educational parts of it, plus some operational parts of it as well. So see how that goes.
That's so much better.
Thank you.
Is that better? Do y'all need that one close too?
No.
It's okay?
But yeah,
Oh, excellent.
yeah. But I'll report back at our May meeting. See how that progresses, I guess, so, yeah. A lot of big issues out there. I don't, we'll see, what there is out there to deal with the problem. I mean, it's not just Sumner County, obviously, it's not just the Resource Authority, it's the whole Middle Tennessee region. Big questions out there, and not many solutions right now, it doesn't seem like, so.
Not ones that people are willing to accept.
That's true, yeah, to some extent, yeah. I did see, I didn't put it in the packet, but remember last month, I think I put an article in there that I had on that deal down in Murray County that where a company had come in and bought the old Monsanto property down there. Well, it looks like that there's been some legislation, it's either presented or it has passed, that kind of put a buffer around that area off the Duck River. So it may have knocked that project in the head, I don't know. I'm sure that company that bought the property and was looking at, putting 2 landfill sites on it and some other processing facility or so, will probably fight that decision, I'm sure. We'll see how that goes, I guess.
Is it possible we would ever have another landfill here in Sumner County?
I don't think there's anywhere in Sumner County that one could be cited, just to be honest with you.
Based
I
on
don't know where it would
regulations?
be.
You gotta think about the geographical part of it, especially the water part of it.
Yeah.
We've got Old Hickory Lake, obviously,
Mhm.
and your watershed comes all the way from the ridge to that, see? And so, and the other part of that is you can't put a landfill over on the other side of the ridge. There's nothing there. The closest thing, because we've got one landfill up there, and I don't think there'll ever be another one.
If you'll notice, a lot of big landfills are situated around waterways, rivers.
Barge.
No, bottom land, a lot of dirt available. Sumner County is, Ryan can speak to this better than I can, is considered what they call karst terrain. It's a lot of rock, not much dirt to rock ratio. You might expand on that, but that's one reason why I don't see a landfill ever getting sited in Sumner County. I don't know where the space would be to facilitate that.
You end up with a rock quarry,
Well, that's what I
like
was
Pilot
just,
Knob down here, see, that's what we ended up with down off of Owens Bend, down through there.
Class 1 landfills are incredibly arduous to permit, number one, right? And then Larry, speaking to the geologic buffers that happen between groundwater and the soil that has to be between, there's some minimum distances there you gotta maintain. I would encourage a lot, a high growth community like Sumner County to maybe, if you were interested in the landfill component of it, to look for construction demolition debris landfill space. Two things happen when you do that. One, construction demolition debris is very heavy, and so it costs a great deal to haul it's in disposal destination, a lot of energy. So you're getting rid of that heavy tonnage, and it's got a more of a local disposal. The other part, they're a bit easier to permit. So if you have have an opportunity or someone who's looking to develop that sort of landfill, those are particularly good for high growth communities.
and that's what we are.
You guys are.
I know that Galton, I think they're probably sitting at 12,000 units on the books approved right now. What do you have in Hendersonville?
Maybe 4,000.
4,000? And then we got,
White House,
White House in Portland.
that's more.
So
Yeah,
would
one
that be
thing-
enough to?
One thing that's big on landfills is the dirt quality. While you're operating a landfill, no matter whether it's a class 1 or a C and D site, they have to be covered every day at the end of the day. Can't leave them uncovered. So you gotta have good enough quality of dirt to be able to cover and compact, for one, or you have to find, alternate daily cover of some sort to be able to use that TDEC would approve of. And, I've seen and heard, all kinds of things proposed in the past for alternate data cover.
Paper mill sludge.
Yeah.
All sorts of things.
Yeah, a lot of different things, so. That's, there's a lot of things that go into operating a landfill, for one. And we've got the old C and D site up at Oak Grove that we closed back in 2006. The other thing is the communities those things are situated in. There was a big fight up there initially when they proposed that site, and had to jump through a lot of hoops with the North Sumner Concerned Citizens up there, a group, coalition, I guess you'd say. It got pretty testy there while that was trying to be passed, and tried to be good neighbors while we were there. And then when we closed that site, a lot of people, wanted to, you can't ever say never, I guess, but a promise that it would never be reopened again. So, that's the other thing with the landfill. You got the NIMBY thing, not in my backyard. And it's not just landfills, it's that way with any solid waste site. We tried to site a recycling drop-off down off Upper Station Camp several years ago by the fire hall down there, if you know where that is.
I do.
And the people in that neighborhood that live right behind it, they jumped up and down about it. So we eventually moved on, so.
Yeah, there's always gonna be that.
And that was just a fenced-in area for drop-off recycling. It wasn't like it was a waste-to-energy plant or a transfer station or that kind of thing. So, anyway.
Thank you.
Do we have anything, I know Butch is not here, but do we have a legal report from him?
No, sir.
Okay. Old business.
On the transfer station, we're tracking schedule pretty well. One of our permits has come in since our last meeting, and that one is the CGP, or Construction General Permit, issued by TDEC. So that was good news. We have comments back from the transfer station permit modification, and we're addressing those. We should have those in this week. And I think we'll probably get to the point of, by the time all the permits are in place, including the rest of the permits from Gallatin Utilities and Electric Department, when we get to this mid-May target for bid release, there's probably some decisions that need to be made. I don't know that we'll have met by that. I think our meeting's actually after May 16th, but haven't looked at the calendar well enough to claim that. But what I expect to happen is we're going to have the final design documents ready to go before a couple of the permits become final.
May meeting's the 15th.
Perfect. Maybe we can make a decision that evening, but I think I'd prepare you to think about going ahead and releasing this project for bid, assuming the plans are in place and finalized, and having an award period that allowed us to gather bids, and maybe there's a 90-day period where bids are still good to allow permits to come in, begin with that 90 days before we issue the notice of award to a contractor. So just something to think about as we're going into next month's meeting and pushing through final design.
Do you have anybody querying about possibly bidding on it? Do you have queries from anybody?
Yes, we've had several contractors reach out to us
Okay.
with interest. And then as we kind of get in this month before push, we'll start reaching out. When we can see the finish line, we'll start reaching out to them and let them know it's.
Okay.
Are there any others? Any other contractors that you can think of that would?
Who would be interested?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, for example, Curtis Construction here in Gallatin, they're very interested in participating, and we've been in discussion with them. And there's been a couple other that I don't recall their names, but they'll call in periodically, hear about the project from other sources, and we'll discuss, general timing. And we've got a list back at the office of other contractors we work with to make sure we get it out on the street. Of course, it'll be publicly advertised, and also, but we want to make sure, some of those folks that we've worked with in the past, have an awareness of the project beyond that public advertisement.
Ryan, will that be put out on some kind of, I'm remembering back to when maybe we bid the MRF, it's been 30 years ago, so I may be misremembering, but there's a site out there where contractors can access projects.
Yeah, right.
From engineers.
There's probably Dodge.
That's the one I was
Yes.
thinking about, yeah.
So most of those are online now. Dodge used to be the physical plan room, and contractors would have to go and
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about.
look at the hard set, but now they're online. So we have 3 or 4 of those type plan rooms that we work with, and then we advertise it on our website, which is also connected to a subscription-based, plan room, that has a kind of separate silo. So there's probably 3 to 4 plan rooms digitally that are advertised with the public advertisement, and then we get it out word of mouth as well.
Anything else on that, Ryan?
I guess in relation to that, we mentioned about that piece of property that's back there, that's landlocked, and you were gonna check on.
Yeah, I haven't been
ownership.
able to do a whole lot on that. We've been so busy the last 3 or 4 weeks. But I hadn't forgot about it. I'll
Okay.
still try to do that. I don't know, I know who it says on the Sumner County property, who owns it, but it's a Chicago address, so trying to trace that or track that's probably gonna be,
Is there a tax record that would reflect that? Should
I don't
be
know.
On the property itself, I would think.
probably will be,
Yeah.
yeah.
If,
But you'd ask a question about how we did the last property.
yeah, like how you went about purchasing.
Do you wanna talk about that a minute?
Sure.
While we're doing this? That 7 acres that we bought, the company or the people that owned that had bought it several years ago. And it was a, used oil processing, company out of Knoxville. They were wanting to site a, used oil collection depot in the Gallatin area. So they bought that piece of property, behind us there, held on to it for several years and didn't use it for anything. And, you know, we knew who had bought it and that kind of thing, and we're expecting somebody to build at some point in time. They never did, but, kind of when we started looking at, expanding, the way the growth was going in the county and the region and all that, you know, we knew that if we wanted to do any expansion, you know, we didn't have that much space currently. So we knew who had that. We found out that they were looking to sell it, negotiated a price with them to buy it. Before we bought it, we had an appraiser come in and do an appraisal on it, full appraisal.
Good.
And also did a phase 1 hydrogeologic survey on it before we decided to buy it. So we jumped through several hoops to buy that property. We got it for, it was less than $300,000. It was $270, I think.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, it didn't have road frontage, obviously. It had the 50-foot down beside our existing property that connected to that in the back. But it was ideal for our
Price is
purposes to be able to expand. So that's kind of how that transpired.
With the with the process that was brought up last time, is there any problem, we were talking about the rail, is there any problem with getting, I don't know what they call it?
Spur.
Yes. Is that a problem? Do railroads, they give those out easy, or is that a problem?
That it actually is a spur back there.
Yeah, that is a spur off the main line.
It used to service the old R.R. Donnelly printing plant. They brought in paper rolls by rail over there. So it came off that main line that goes across Steam Plant Road, or I guess that's kind of a spur as well, just to be honest with you. And went all the way around and came in the back side of the old Donnelly Printing Company. So that's the rail we're talking
Oh,
about.
yeah. So, once you have the spur, they're willing to allow you to access?
Well, I'm sure there would be some construction to do. I mean, it hasn't been used for some time.
Yeah, I think you'd have to look at the maintenance on that
So
spur line and
it's a
then.
long project.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's something.
I've walked it a couple of times myself. You know, it's grown up some. There's some bad cross ties in it, but it still don't look all that bad, just to be honest with you. It would need some work done to it,
Yeah.
obviously, but.
I would kind
Good that
of,
it's there.
Yes.
yeah, I would
absolutely.
anticipate too, we'd have to spur off that main spur line and have our, I'll call it mini switch yard for our rail cars that would be
Well,
loaded.
maybe we can talk to the mayor of Hendersonville and the mayor of Gallatin, get the growth down. We don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Wake up.
I vote against every new subdivision and ordinance coming to the city.
Thank you. Talk to your.
So, well, yeah, if you could have something next month, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll
Well, yeah.
see how
Get
what I can do to
You know, we just,
bird dog that.
they may look out and nobody's interested in it. And
Well, they, you know, Donnelly owned all that property around us at one time, so, and they still own that corner down there where you turn in off Steam Plant Road as well, I think. It's all grown up with the bushes and trees.
Well, if it's out of Chicago, I bet you it's still tied to Donnelly. Cause that, of course, that's where their corporate headquarters.
It's called something different now. It's LSC Communications or something like
Okay.
that. But I think it's probably something that the old R.R. Donnelly switched over to.
Yeah.
Okay, do we, update, have we updated landfill projects?
We're current on all monitoring and reporting. We've got plans ready, and they'll go to Larry this week for the drainage repairs at Odom's Bend. There's a couple of ponded spots on 2 different landfill cells that just need a little doctrine like old landfills do. They settle, and things don't settle at the same rate, so it's, you have differential settlement and therefore ponding. And so we've got a quick and general set of plans to alleviate a couple of places where water is pooling up.
Another thing about landfills, they never cease to exist, even after they're closed.
That's right.
We're responsible for the rest of the natural life.
That's right.
correct.
Yeah, 30-year post-closure care period, and then it turns into custodial care, which they can reopen at any point.
Any new business, Larry?
No, sir.
Anything else we need to talk about?
Going home.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, just hang out here, I guess.
There'll be another meeting at
The rest of us
7.
won't be. Enjoy some, lay down on this